Hey guys, so this is Earthling 6455463728, and continuing my story about smoking and starting to smoke and quitting. So as I mentioned, my father had smoked. Not too many other people around me smoked. In my immediate family, nobody else smoked really, and I didn't really see my father too much. But yeah, I always thought it was a stupid idea, and I tried it, and I liked the heady feeling, so I figured, one wouldn't hurt. And as long as I could buy loose cigarettes, it really wasn't that much of a problem, until I couldn't. And when I went to university, like I said, I couldn't buy those loose cigarettes. The place to buy them was, the little shops to buy them were far off. I couldn't get to them. The places that did sell cigarettes, they didn't want to sell loose cigarettes. For some reason, they thought it was illegal to sell loose cigarettes. I don't know where they got that. But they did, and they wouldn't sell single cigarettes. So here I was bumming cigarettes from people. And it wasn't cool. I didn't mind even paying the people for the cigarettes, but nobody wanted, at the time, like 50 cents for a cigarette or something like that, or a quarter or something. So they just saw me as an annoyance, and but that wasn't even enough to get me to stop. Every once in a while, because it wasn't about the money, it was about making sure I didn't have cigarettes in my hands. So every once in a while, I would buy a carton of cigarettes and go looking for the people that I would bum cigarettes from to give them. On one occasion, I guess the guy thought I wanted to bum a cigarette from him, one particular guy, so he ran off. And I gave the people who were around the cigarettes that I had. Of course, it's always a problem because I didn't care about what kind of cigarette I smoked. But everybody had their own favorite type of cigarette. So if it's Marlboro, I bought a case of that, a carton of that, then I couldn't give it to the people who wanted to smoke menthols. But I might anyway, or might try to anyway. Anyway, that wasn't the reason why I decided I needed to stop. I just knew that I needed to because I did not want... Other than that, I looked at myself as a somewhat healthy person. I tried to watch what I ate, and this is, I suppose when I finally decided and I needed to quit. No, I was out of university by then, so that was outside of the time when I lost weight. But I guess they kind of went hand in hand in the end when I finally said, okay, I'm really, really committed to maintaining my body weight. Around that time, I also said, okay, I'm really committed to ending smoking. And, anyway, what happened is that, as before, with respect to losing weight, I decided, okay, I need to go look up resources to try to stop smoking. So, some of the things that I found over the course of the time when I was trying to quit, actually I guess I did quit, or try to quit around the same time when I was losing weight. But some of the things that helped in the end was that, okay, a craving is temporary. It may seem like it lasts forever, but it isn't. A food craving, a craving to smoke, they last for about a couple minutes. So you really only have to fight against that desire for a couple minutes until you forget about it. And that was something that really helped and helps, because it's not something that you always have to engage in, and then you slip and that's the end of it. Another thing that I realized for myself is that giving in to a craving to smoke, the only thing that accomplishes is to feed the desire for the next cigarette. That's the only thing that it helps you to do. The further away you can get from that last cigarette, the better for you. If you say, okay, this next cigarette, no, that next cigarette is only going to fuel your desire for the one that comes after, or the one that you want to come after, and so on and so on and so on. And you just keep daisy chaining all of these things together. At some point, I did quit. I kept postponing it because I thought, in the same way with respect to my weight, that I could kind of use my body to say, okay, I'll wean myself off of it. But the weaning by bumming cigarettes from people and not having those cigarettes on hand, it didn't work. It went on for years and years and years. And, at some point I had to realize, listen, you don't want to hold the cigarettes in your hand, and it does help, or have them in your pocket, and it does help. It reduces the amount that you ultimately have, but ultimately it doesn't help you to end smoking. And what ultimately worked for me was that I really wanted to be rich and wealthy, like most of us. And I thought, at some point I am going to be, but I'm going to create a fable or a thing in my mind, an idea, that if I have a cigarette, that will mean that I will never become wealthy. I will never be self-sufficient, financially secure. And I just combined those two things in my mind. And I know it wasn't true. I could smoke and probably become very wealthy. But I just made myself think that was true. And I wanted that one so much to be true, that I would become wealthy, that the idea of smoking, when I attached it to not being wealthy, it was just something that kind of terrified me to ever have a cigarette in my mouth again. To the point where, I might have a dream, and I would be dreaming that I would had a cigarette. And in my dream, I was so disappointed because I was thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to be wealthy. And when I woke up, I would be so relieved that, wow, I really didn't smoke. Thank goodness. Thank God that I didn't. And ultimately, yeah, that's what happened with respect to that. I was just so grateful on those occasions that I hadn't actually ended up smoking. But with respect to the cravings, right now, I have no desire to have... Well, the thing about it is, the cravings existed for a long time, maybe a couple of years. I remember telling someone, we were talking about it, and they said, do you want to smoke? And I said, all the time. I want to smoke all the time. Because I did. Especially when I saw a cigarette, I wanted to have a cigarette. And there was a time eventually where that went away though. And I had no interest whatsoever in having a cigarette. Just the idea of it was disgusting. But what I realized is that right now, these days, I never think about it. Actually, I never think about it, but when I do think about it, I do sometimes want a cigarette. Not to the point where I would say, yeah, let me go buy a cigarette, let me ask someone for a cigarette. Nothing to that point. But maybe in a dream, like I mentioned, but not very often now. But now it kind of annoys me. It annoys me when I see these movies with people smoking cigarettes. And to me, it's as if they are pushing cigarettes. It's a cigarette ad because this particular character just keeps smoking. I mean, you can smoke, but chain smoking practically, where he always lighting up a cigarette, it's like, and I know that this is how the cigarette companies are getting people to continue to smoke. I know that. But it still upsets me, though, to see them doing it. That's why they were, I mean, I have to be honest. That's me. When I was smoking, I would see myself as those people in those movies. The way they held the cigarette, the way they blew the smoke out, the way they might make these circles. That would be me. I would kind of envision myself as one of these characters, not regularly, just as a fleeting moment. And it would register and resonate with what I had seen on the screen and make me feel like, yeah, I'm sophisticated like these people. Not in something that I'm thinking regularly or encouraging other people to do, just in something that smoking companies use to make people smoke. So all the magazine ads and I think the smoking companies realized, they were like, hey, this is really all we need. These characters in these movies. We don't need in magazines really, we don't need them on TV mainly. Really, this is all we need. So they were able to let go of all of these other things, and yeah, it worked. So it worked so well that it didn't need these other means. So it always kind of annoys me a bit to see these people in movies smoking, but because it kind of encourages me and makes me think about smoking. And it's not really a big like, oh my god, I just saw this movie, now I need to go have a cigarette. But I wish they would stop. But of course, that's not their problem. It's my problem. It's it's society's problem. It's not the company's problem. So, yeah. The thing about it, I guess, is that I'm glad really that I have quit smoking. I have, one family member distant family, who I think she had COPD, and she had these oxygen tanks, and I don't think I was ever really going to get that bad, but at any rate, that's it, I guess. I may redo this at some point, because when I remember this and I edit this, I'm going to be thinking, hey, I missed that. So, but anyway, that's my story for now. And as I've said before, if you'd wish me some good lucks, I'd appreciate it. Like or unlike, comment if it appeals to you. You can subscribe if that's something that's a good thing for you, if you think that might be cool. And I'd appreciate it. I need a certain number of subscribers. And you can also share this if it might help someone else, or it might be interesting to someone else that you can imagine. All right. Peace. Thanks.